Okay, so we're back at the dashboard and we're ready to discuss sales and bills. So invoices owed to you and bills that you need to pay. And as a quick recap on how far we've come, we started off by learning how to verify that the account balances are right and that the automatic feeds are importing correctly. And then we've used the Reconcile screen and the cash coding screen to start categorizing our transactions. And so most of the time you're going to use cash coding to knock out your expenses. And as I mentioned before, you're going to use the Reconcile screen to knock out your transfers. But when it comes to sales invoices and bills, well, that's kind of a unique process and it deserves some of its own attention. So of course we're going to handle that in the Reconcile screen, but before we get there, I just want to discuss it in a little bit more detail. As an Amazon seller, you should be using A2X accounting to bring over invoices from Seller Central and into Xero. And since you get paid on a bi-weekly basis, what A2X accounting is going to do is it's going to bring in invoices into Xero on a bi-weekly basis. And once you've done the mapping, if you followed the A2X accounting instructions from the Xero setup course, you should have that all set up by now and you should have invoices streaming into Xero. What I've gone and I've done is I've set up 3 draft invoices. I brought those into Xero. And so it's important to note that when A2X is working correctly, it will map all of your revenues and expenses to your chart of accounts, and it should be automatically bringing in invoices to Xero. And when it does bring them into Xero, it will bring them in under the draft status. So as I mentioned in the dashboard video, when a invoice is in draft status, that means you can't match it up to a payout just yet, and it actually hasn't even hit your reporting. So you won't even see any income or any expenses reflected in these invoices. You won't be able to see that when you run your reports. So the first step that we're going to take is we're going to approve our invoices. We're going to go ahead and highlight these 3 invoices. Actually, I'm going to just highlight one. And so the first step is to approve the invoices, and to do that you just click the link next to the invoice and then you click approve, and then we'll confirm by clicking OK. And once we do that, our drafts go from 3 to 2 and our awaiting payments go from 8 to 9. And so the next step is to click approve again for the other invoices, and you can do them all at the same time, but I split them up to say that every now and then whenever you go to approve an invoice that comes from A2X accounting, since I'll drill down into this invoice so you have a better look at it. What you see with this invoice is that each of these lines is mapped to an account in the chart of accounts. And the A2X invoice is going to look much different from this. There's probably about 15 to 25 different lines for all the different sales and expenses that come from Seller Central. But I did this as a dummy statement just to be really simple. And what will happen from time to time is if a new type of transaction comes from Seller Central into A2X accounting, then if you turn on automatic invoicing, it'll come over into Xero and one of these lines will be blank. If A2X has never seen it before, it doesn't know where to map it. And so what will happen is it'll come in blank, and when you click approve, it'll show an error. So if you ever see an error while trying to approve an invoice from Amazon, go ahead and drill down into the invoice and then pick the account that it should be mapped to. So I have a mapping template that I will include with the course documents. So if you ever get in trouble and you need to verify which account it should go to, I have a mapping template for A2X accounting that's included. But All that to say, if you have a blank, go ahead and fill in the blank and then click Approve. So once you do, we'll approve and we'll head back over to Invoices. And you see here, I'm going to go ahead and approve the final 2 invoices. And then I'm going to come over to awaiting payment. So I'm going to sort this column so it brings Amazon to the top. And what you'll notice here, it's pretty peculiar, but when A2X sends over invoices, it sends over on a biweekly period, and you can see the due date, so September 4th and September 21st. But what you notice is that for some payout periods, there's only one invoice that corresponds. So from September 4th to September 21st, there's only one invoice for $4,500. But when you look at the previous payout for September 4th, you see it's broken up into 2 statements. And so you'll see one says August 21st and the second says September 1st. What A2X accounting does, it's smart enough that it breaks up the August sales. If your payout period goes across 2 different months, so in this case from August 21st to September 4th, that payout crosses August and September. What A2X accounting will do is it'll break up the August 21st to August 31st transactions, and it'll put it onto one invoice, and then it'll take the September 1st to the end of the payout and put it on a second. So these 2 invoices actually correspond to the same payout. It's just that they break them up so that they can date them in their respective months. So once we do that, we approve these invoices. What we'll do is we'll go to the dashboard and we'll go to the Reconcile screen. And what you'll see we have waiting for us at the top of the Reconcile screen is we have these 2 Amazon payouts. And so since this is a demo company, what I've gone and done is I've imported manually 2 examples that look very, very much like what will hit your bank account. And so if you look at them, they should be about 2 weeks apart. It's not always perfect. And what you'll see is right away that with one payout, there's no match. But with the second payment, there's an immediate match. And this is because of how Xero's matching feature works. It will only match up a bank statement line to an invoice if the amounts are exact. And so if you recall in our previous example, if a payout crosses 2 months, then there's going to be 2 invoices for that payout. So every other payout will match it perfectly, and then that next payout will not match, in which case what we'll do is we'll go ahead and click Find and Match. And when we do, you're going to see our Amazon invoices, and I'll bring these to the top. What you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to pick the 2 invoices that correspond to this payout. So in this case, it was the August 21st and the September 1st. So all you have to do is check the 2 boxes next to the corresponding invoices, and together those should equal exactly the payout that hits your bank account. So once you've selected the 2, you'll just click OK, and then that payout is totally reconciled. And then of course with the payouts where it matches exactly, you'll simply click OK. I'll head back to the dashboard and I'll wrap up by saying that is typically how the sales and bills process is going to work. With the invoices, you're going to approve the drafts and then go into the bank account, click Find and match them up. Or what you might do with bills is create supplier invoices and match up maybe those wire transfers if you're sending out to Chinese suppliers or something like that. So that's how the sales and bills process works. You create, approve, and then you apply a payment to each of those, whether it's an invoice or a bill.